The families of Israeli hostages have urged fellow citizens to shut down the country to stop the government's plan to escalate the war in Gaza.
Now, all this comes days after Israel announced plans to re-invade Gaza City. Earlier, I spoke to Aaron David Miller, a former Middle East analyst and negotiator. Now he's a senior fellow at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, and he says he's doubtful that Israel will mount a full invasion of Gaza.
I mean, the Israelis have accomplished one of their two goals since October 7. They've hollowed out and undermined, if not destroyed, Hamas's capacity to function as a military organization with organized units, a command structure, with a capacity to rocket Israel, short and medium-range rockets, let alone to mount a cross-border set of attacks that they did on October 7. But Hamas exists as an insurgency. And insurgents in an area that is as densely populated as Gaza, with a tunnel system, which was estimated to be half the size of the New York City subway system, roughly 400 to 500 kilometers, gives Hamas an insurgent's advantage. They don't have to win the war. They simply have to survive. And since May, the Israelis have lost 50 soldiers, either in friendly fire incidents, a function of dealing in a crowded environment, IEDs, explosive devices, and ambushes. So that's the problem that the Israelis confront. And remember, they occupy right now 75% of Gaza, but the 25% that they don't occupy is where the bulk of Gaza's population reside. So the second goal that they've committed themselves to is the freedom for all the hostages. And of the 252 that were taken on October 7, alive and dead, taken to Gaza, 130 or more have been freed, not largely, as a consequence of negotiations. So I think if this goes ahead, and by the way, I have serious doubts as to whether or not the Israelis will actually occupy, or as they put it, take over the entire Gaza Strip. I'm not even persuaded that they will mount the kind of attack and military operation in Gaza City. They've given the Gaza residents, and I don't think they've issued formal evacuation orders yet, 2 months before they would begin a significant military campaign. And I think Netanyahu and certainly others would hope that the threat produces some urgency on the part of Hamas to go back to the negotiating table. I also would point out that President Trump's special envoy, Stephen Witkoff, the envoy for everything, Iran, Russia, Gaza, was reported to be meeting with Qatari officials in Ibiza, Spain, this weekend, on talking about a comprehensive negotiated solution. So I'm still not persuaded that this is going to that this massive Israeli military operation is going to happen.
You've just outlined the kind of challenges that Israel will face if they were to mount this particular operation. But at the same time, if it was to happen, now the more conservative elements of his cabinet have already said that they want to annex this strip. The Prime Minister has said that's not the aim of it all, that the aim is to get rid of Hamas, of course, and then to hand over to an Arab force. But what sort of situation would have to unfold for Israel to justify annexing Gaza?
I don't think the annexation of Gaza is in the cards either. No, the problem here is that Benjamin Netanyahu, for political reasons, won't engage in rational functional day after planning in Gaza. And that's why there's no strategy here and no defined end state.
You've been a Middle East negotiator. You know the players, you know this history, you know the issues that are involved here. I wonder if you've seen a time when there was an optimistic glimpse of a two-state solution, and perhaps what elements are needed to be in place for that to happen again?
You need three things. I've said this since Camp David in July of 2025. Number one, you need leaders who are masters of their political houses, not prisoners of their ideologies. Leaders who are more interested in doing things for their peoples rather than keeping their seats. Number two, you need an external mediator that is willing and able not just to apply ample amounts of honey or incentives, but a mediator that's prepared to be tough, to apply vinegar if necessary as disincentives. And finally, you need some consensus on the end state. I continue to believe, even though many people think it's laughable, that the only way to resolve the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is to separate these two parties through a negotiation into something that resembles, for the Palestinians, a state of their own. The Israelis already have those. With those three things, Fauzi, you actually have a chance. But I would argue that the 25 years since leaving government in 2003, last 25 years in the public conversation, you've never seen these three factors align. The sun, the moon, the stars have not come together, which is why, however long the odds, I continue to be hopeful that out there, there are leaders